Okay, we are live. We're hot, sexy people.
We're hot.
Yeah, I can turn the fan on higher.
No, it's comfortable.
It's
I like
breezy.
Well, I don't know about breezy.
We are here on the Smashby Podcast with Jason. Once again, this time we're actually recording because last time I was a big idiot and clicked the record button like twice, and we only got like half a second worth of.
Yeah, so we did a whole like hour and a half show for you guys that no one got to see. It was just the two of us, pretty much.
It was us shooting the shit.
Yeah.
The good thing about that is I actually came up with a name for these podcasts where we don't have necessarily a strong plan as to what we're going to go through.
Right.
It's just called an STS podcast.
STS?
Shoot the Shit Podcast.
Oh, Shoot the Shit. Okay, that makes sense.
Shoot the Shit Podcast.
Okay.
So, but we do have a little bit of a direction because of the Shoot the Shit Podcast. We started talking about sexual fetishes.
Mm-hmm.
And you said next time you come back that you would have
a list.
A list of
plethora. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say plethora. I tried to do some fetish research for myself, and I found out that I was not ready to see most of the stuff that I saw when I was doing my own research for myself. My search history is irreparably damaged now.
Yeah, the Google algorithms will really fuck with you after a while.
Yeah. I did take the official kink test, though.
Okay, so I was talking to a friend who you met on the way in, but official kink test, where do you find an official kink test?
The official, what I'm calling the official kink test, and I think what the website that hosts it considers to be the official kink test, is actually on BDSM.org.
.org.
So that's .org. That's not runofthemill.com.
Okay.
It's that .org. It's organization. So it's actually, the test itself is on bdsmtest.org.
Okay, BDSM
test.
Yeah,
so this isn't your MySpace, Facebook, BuzzFeed quiz.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is like the community, the BDSM fetish community actually supports this, apparently. I did my research.
Was there at least a you must be 18 years or older, or was there select your birthday?
Yes. Well, no, so it's not like that. It's one of those participation, if you proceed past this page, you are let's see exactly what it says.
Okay.
Because I have it up on my screen. It says, by using this website, you confirm that you are 18 years or age or older. So it's just like every other porn site where they're not actually going to do anything too invested to stop you, but they're, going to do just enough to cover their own ass for when they find out that, every 14-year-old boy is spanking it on the internet right now.
Actually, I waited until I was 15.
Oh, yeah?
Held out.
Yeah, man. What a good boy.
Okay, so official kink BDSM test.
Yeah. There's two tests. There's the general beginner's test, and then there is the more advanced, you've started experimenting with stuff, you're in the community and you want to know more.
Okay.
I did not take that test. I took the quickie, and the quickie took maybe 5 minutes. It's several pretty in-depth questions, and the subject matter is exactly what you think it would be about. They are genuinely probing what you find acceptable, what is interesting, and then what is absolutely no. No. So I took it the other day. Let me pull up my test results real quick. And I was actually very surprised at my own test results. I don't consider myself to be a very kinky person, and no one else that knows me at that personal of a level would think I'm a very kinky person either.
Okay.
Actually, everybody calls me a prude. which is hilarious, right? They call me a prude.
Knowing you,
and so on one side of my life, in one community, I'm a prude. I'm no fun. I'm the fuddy-duddy. And then in this other part of my life, I am just this salacious, outrageous, like, oh my God, like, Jason, you're so crazy kind of person. And it just goes to show you how everyone's different, and how everyone has their different groups. So apparently I have like my freaks and like my normal people.
Okay.
And I used freak in the positive, like the way that they would self-identify themselves as, freaks.
Yeah.
Freaky.
So hit us with some of the questions.
Some of the questions, well, I didn't pull that up. I didn't save my the questions themselves, although I could probably just retake the test if you guys are willing to hang out for it. So, the other cool thing about the website is that you can actually create an account on BDSM.org, and it specifically says you can create this account to track the change of your interests. So, like, if you're genuinely like trying to go on this sexual self-discovery voyage, adventure, pilgrimage, whatever you want to call it, you can make this account. You take your initial test. It gives you the things that you might be interested based on the initial test. So maybe you go explore those things, you try some things out, and now you have a new perspective because you've tried whatever these new suggested things are. And then you can come back and retake the test or take the in-depth test. And then it keeps track of your progress. So each time it saves your results and it'll compare them as you go. Yeah. It looks like. So I took the test. I haven't tried any of the suggested things because it's only been about 24 hours since I took the test. I didn't have a lot of time to cram sexual exploration in between my softball game last night and work this morning.
Yeah, one round. Let's do it.
I got about 3 hours of consciousness left before I go to sleep. I need some sexual exploration. Yeah, no. So let me just go ahead and take the test right here real quick.
Go for it. While you're taking that test, I know that there's a similar test with FetLife, where you go through and you take a quiz, and it'll tell you percentile of what you're into. So what you're into at the very top, and then at the very bottom.
That's what the breakdown for this one looks like too.
Cool.
Yeah, it's this long list of common either fetishes or fetish categories, and it'll tell you what percentage that you rated in each one.
Interesting.
So when you begin taking the quiz, it collects your baseline information. So it wants to know what gender you identify as, and it has lots of options. It has your age category. It has your orientation, which also has a lot of options. And it also has a prefer not to disclose option, which I think is interesting. I wonder how that would have, not disclosing it, I wonder if that gives you options for more questions, maybe, because they literally have to ask you everything because there's no base to draw from. Like if you say you're gay, they're not going to ask you, do you like to eat pussy? Like, or maybe they do, maybe they would. So, for mine, I identify as bisexual. My friends have told me that I'm actually pansexual, but I honestly don't care enough for labels to care, and then it gives you the option, do you want the short or in-depth test? And then you can filter it yourself if you already know a little bit about yourself here. So you have the option to show all test questions, or you can skip all questions aimed at submissives or masochists. Skip all questions aimed at dominants or sadists. Okay. So I don't know the difference between a sadist and a masochist. So, that shows my education level. We're going to go switch all. And then it just goes through, it's got this little the spectrum. I don't know if you guys can see it. Green being, green light, red light being, cheeks clenched. So, and it starts out with the basic stuff. I like to be dominated. Yes or no. I like to be dominant. Yes or no. I want my partner, and then it wants to find out how dominant you are. And it's like, I want my partners to serve me and address me as superior, yes or no. Or I like to fulfill my partner's sexual desires, but mine are still, let's see. I like to fulfill my partner's sexual desires, but the focus is still on fulfilling my own. Mm-hmm. So it starts out with the top, and then it gets like, okay, so are you dominant or are you submissive? How dominant and how submissive, and then what kind of dominant and what kind of submissive.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, and that's, so this whole section is made up of like maybe 12 sections, and it's for a single question. So that's how in depth it gets about each aspect that it's investigating. So it was really cool. I encourage you guys to take it, even if you're not kinky at all. It was just fun to do. It makes you think. Like, what if I was in this situation? Because I've never been in the majority of the situations that it presented, and I never see myself getting there. But it's fun to think, like, what if I walk into a room with 4 attractive other people and they beckon me to join them? And I'm like, I don't know. Who are these 4 people? Do they have money?
Yeah. Liam Neeson, Cher.
Nope. Lost me at Liam.
You know Liam Neeson?
No.
Supposedly that guy's not like an idiot.
I could care less if someone has a penis or not. The penis is not a selling point for me under any circumstance. Okay. Genitalia in general is not a point of interest for me.
So what is it about Liam that doesn't do it for you?
Age for one.
Okay, yeah, he is getting up there.
Facial hair for 2.
He doesn't have facial hair.
Every time I've seen him, he's had facial hair.
He didn't have any facial hair in Taken.
I didn't see that.
Oh.
The last thing I saw him in, I think, was Star Wars.
Okay, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever rubbed your genitalia in facial hair before, but it doesn't feel good.
I haven't, no.
Well, I encourage you to try after, and the test might encourage you to try as well. I encourage you to take it.
I will take it. Next time we sit down.
You'll take it like a champ.
Next time we sit down, I will take it or have been just walking further and further in the woods.
A little part of me wants you to take it while we're talking.
I toss it over. If you can think of
well, just pull it up on your own phone.
Okay.
You can't have mine. I need to review my results. I don't need to. I'm going to, whether you like it or not.
Okay, review your results.
All right. But like I said, I was actually really surprised by my results. And I took it twice just to be sure. And I got very, very similar results for both. I did change a couple of my answers, which probably wasn't helpful, but I got very almost identical results for both times I took the test. But so here's what it broke down to is apparently I fall into the highest percentage that I had. So this is supposedly the thing that I'm most either into or interested in trying. I won't confess to anything. I won't say I've done it. I won't say I am into it. This is what is my suggested fetish level. Is I fall into the 78% percentile for voyeurism, and I was like, okay, I don't know what that meant specifically, like, because I don't think I like people watching me do anything, and I've never watched other people do anything. So the neat thing about these test results is it actually, next to your result, there's a more info button that you can click. I can't click mine because I just took a screen cap of my results. I didn't save them because I didn't want to make an account. I might be in background checks for a job someday, and I don't need this showing up in my search results. But yeah, so if you click more info, it goes into more detail. And apparently, and I do remember, just because I was so taken back, like, really? Tell me more about me. This doesn't sound like me, but it sounds fun. But one of them was, they suspected I was into voyeurism, that I would enjoy watching someone perform for me. So like I could see that, because I like dancers, and I feel like I haven't been to a legitimate strip club yet, but I feel like if I did, I would enjoy a dance.
Yeah.
So, with following that avenue of thought, in a sexual situation, if I had the opportunity with someone, whether I'm single or with my significant other or whatever, that if someone was willing to do something sexy for me, I would probably very much enjoy it. So
there you go.
Yeah.
I'm 12% through the test, apparently.
12% through
12% too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're progressing nicely. But yeah, so it also said that I'm dominant, which no question there. I'm a control freak. I'm dominant in every aspect of my life, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think, though, what I've heard is that, like, normally people that are, like, dominant in every other aspect of their life usually like to be submissive romantically. Because, you know, as that, like, that sense of release or relief of not having to be in control all the time. Mm. But, like, I crave more control. If I could be more dominant and controlling than I already am, I would probably. The one that I giggled at because it says I'm 69% and I'm a mature adult.
Well placed.
69% experimentalist,
okay.
Which I don't agree with because I'm terrified to try anything. Like, I am not so low-key terrified to try or experiment with anything sexual because I'm terrified that I'm going to like it and just keep slipping down the slippery slope.
I have to share this joke with you then because it's hilarious to me.
Shoot.
Pete Holmes. Do you know who he is?
The name sounds familiar.
He's done a lot of college humor videos.
Yes, okay, that's where I know him from.
He has this one joke about, like, curiosity is a bad thing in porn because say one day you're just on the porn website and you want to look up something like weird, say it's from Japan, and it's just this
tentacle porn.
Yeah, it's just this beautiful woman, and she's just reading the news, and that's all it is. And all of a sudden, these guys come in, and they're naked except for they're holding cats, and then like they're covering their junk, and then they jack off and come on the cat, and then they start throwing the cat at her, and she's dodging the cat. And all of a sudden, you're sitting there like, no! Like, you just fucked yourself up for life, Curious George.
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen Big Mouth on Netflix?
I love Big Mouth.
So the episode where he gets addicted to porn, he makes reference to the fact that it just keeps getting weirder and weirder, and he keeps having to search weirder and weirder stuff to satisfy his urges at that point.
He dumps the sock.
Oh, he goes to put it on the dumpster and it falls all over him, like, ah. Oh, God. Yeah, no, so I totally agree with that. I personally think that that's how a lot of fetish stuff works, is, you know, it starts out with something little, and then once that ice is broken, whether you intended it to or not, you're gonna need, It's definitely a mind game that you have. It's not. I would kind of put it up there with addiction. Not necessarily that it's not that implying that fetishes are bad or unhealthy, but I think that they can get there really quick depending on what kind of a mindset you have. Just like some people have addictive personalities, like maybe some people shouldn't explore crazy sexual practices because that's how you get people that fuck corpses and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not just falls into a cadaver.
Right, like, you know, and I'm not saying that everyone that has a fetish is going to go that route because that is absolutely not true. And not every fetish is that extreme. A fetish is just a sexual interest. Like, fetish has become this kind of naughty word.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah, everyone's got something. There's a song about it. I don't remember who does it.
I know I've seen an episode of
Everybody's Dad. Was that what it was?
I think so.
Yes, that's what I think. That is the song.
He's like,
everybody's got a kink. Yeah, it's Roger, of course. My spirit animal, Roger the alien. Everybody's got a kink. But yeah, so I mean, I know what I like. There were a couple things, which, you know, brings us to the initial topic that you said, like, what are the things that you're interested, that I would be personally would be interested in versus the things I'm like, never. So I have things that I like. There are some things that I'm willing to try, but I'm like low-key saving them for a point in my relationship with some stagnate. What's the word? When my relationship gets a little stale, stagnant. You know, my partner and I have been together for 7 years now, and happily we have not gotten to any stale points yet.
Good.
So there's a lot of things that I want to try, and I'm gonna save them. And I've had this conversation with other friends, and they're like, no, you can't save it. Do it now, because you're gonna find out that you love it. And then if you wait until you guys are like 40 and things are all stale and stagnant, like you're gonna be like, oh, all the wasted years of flexibility.
How dare I have such a good relationship?
I know. But they're like, yeah, no, they said don't. Yeah, and I've discovered that I have a lot of very kink active friends that are into some more than your average, like, you know, schoolgirl dress and spanking kind of kinky fetish stuff, like, you know, harnesses, chains, leather, stuff that I didn't necessarily want to know that my friends are into, but then just because the internet is everywhere, you just happen to scroll past someone and recognize them, and it's just like, oh no, really?
Yeah.
No, not David. What? He was so wholesome. Why is that man peeing on him? Why is he in this position to begin with? It's like, no, and I clicked on it. Why did I click on it? Why did I want to see more? Mostly so I can hold it over their heads and be like, guess what I found? I'm not going to blackmail anybody, but sometimes it's just fun to be like, hey.
Well, see,
I know what you did last summer.
It's very interesting. So I don't think I'm giving away any information, but I had a friend who told me for a time to make money. She was a cam girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, that blows my mind, because what if somebody you know sees you, or somebody you work with sees you? Because then you're in that place of like, they can't really say like,
exactly. It's a fun trap that, you know, in most cases you don't have to worry too much about, because if they got to that point and they saw it, they're like, yeah, but you watched.
Yeah. You're a cam girl, you go on cam girl sites. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Judgment right back at you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a little protective barrier. Yeah, and I've been in a similar situation where I've stumbled on other friends, and I blame Tumblr. Tumblr is a site where you're not intending to look at porn. Okay, well, I'm not. I shouldn't speak for everyone. Exactly. I am not intending to look at porn.
Like camping, and all of a sudden you're like, that's not what I meant.
Like the Boy Scouts are running a train on each other. Like, yeah, that's not the camping I was looking for.
Well, but the mobile app has a filter that's automatically on when you go on.
You can turn it off though.
Yeah.
And of course I turn it off. I don't want my universe to be filtered. Even if I'm not intentionally looking at porn, sometimes some accidental porn is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because then I find the gems that I have found is like, oh, look, someone had to pay rent 1 month when they were like 19. You know, we're all almost 30 now, but you see that and like,
When I was in high school, I'm sure it wasn't true, but the kids were passing around the rumor that the principal did Playboy once. Mm-hmm. And like my dad heard me and my friends talking about it. He's like, everybody's got to eat.
Exactly.
Like, it was the 60s and people still had to eat.
Oh, God. I wonder what porn in the 60s was like.
Harry.
Oh. Ooh. Yeah, that's not, looking at the results, Harry's not on the list.
Harry, not a hair fan?
Harry is not on the list. Monogamist is, though, so good for me.
Monogamy?
Monogamist, I have a 66% point of, because apparently monogamy can be a fetish.
Monogamy can be a fetish?
Yes, okay. So I have a 66% monogamy fetish.
Only me and the other person. Only me and the other person.
Exactly. Well, and I think that goes close, because the next actually, so that goes well with dominant, as well as the next following at 53%. I have the master fetish as a possibility, 53%.
Okay.
Which, according to these results, is in the like less likely, even though it's 53%, which is more than half, it's still like you're less likely That's your undertones of, so I am dominant with undertones of master. So I could see how monogamy, because those are both very possessive. Monogamy is a possessive love. Like, you love that one person. Your relationship is the two of you, right? Although I did, in my research, discover that there is a form of monogamy that is not necessarily monogamous as in one person.
So it's monogamish?
Yeah, monogamish. That's not the word they use, but while I was researching, I came up on thruples. Thruples, which are it's a form of poly. In this case, it was polyandry. 3 guys that are in a relationship together, and it's not one guy has 2 boyfriends. It's like all 3 of them.
Triad.
That's a gang.
Oh, okay. Not the Asian triad. The triad is when 3 people are all in a close relationship together.
Yeah, so apparently that falls under monogamy, and I didn't, that doesn't cross my mind, but because they don't invite other people in, it's literally just the 3 of them have the agreement to maintain their equal committed relationship to their 3. So it's a monogamous.
But polyamory literally means many loves. So
right. It's monogamy. One love split 3 ways. I don't know. I can't do it justice. The way they explained it made sense. Like, I guess that sounds monogamous, kind of. But, whatever. I would just say exclusive. They're exclusive to each other.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I learned so much weird stuff researching sexual interests and fetishes and trying to learn about myself. I learned a lot. Not necessarily about myself, but about just what the options are out there. How you doing on the test?
I am 83% done now.
Okay, see, it's pretty in depth though, right?
Well, the first few questions all seem to stem with sub versus dom.
Because I think that's the base of any relationship, though. Like, what role are you going to play? And that's like a main role in it. Like, are you going to be in control of your life? Are you willing to share your life with this person?
Yeah.
That's across the board, any relationship. They don't necessarily call themselves sub and dom, but, labels, man, I don't like them, but sometimes they're fun.
You don't like labels? For what reason?
I think I mostly don't like labels just because of the stock that other people put in them. Like, it's a box. Okay. And just because of the way our brains work, as soon as a box exists, we start putting stuff in it. And I just feel like labels sometimes create unnecessary boxes. Like, wouldn't it be nice if, how do I say this? Well, like, we'll do sexual orientation. These are boxes that we've created. They're social constructs. And what if they didn't exist? Like, what if you didn't have to explain, like, yeah, I'm with this person today, and like their gender didn't matter. It wasn't something you had to think about. Like, it wasn't something unique about you. It didn't make you different. Like, you were just with that person. Whoever, whatever they were. Like, that's what I mean. Labels. Like, I can't tell you how many times in my late teens where, back then, like between high school and like adulthood or between high school and college, I was dating both guys and girls. And, I can't tell you how many times, like, I will have met a guy who seems to be super into, like, would be down, but didn't like the idea of this label that would be slapped on them or associated with them. And in this case, self-imposed if they, like, filled around. Like, That's why I don't like labels, is because, like, no, just because we did something doesn't make you gay. Like, and it's mostly like a selfish thing too. Like I'm just that good. You're not homosexual. You're Jason sexual.
You're not gay. You're just attracted to me.
Exactly. No, that's like not an option for people because these labels exist. So they want to self-impose these labels, or their friends or society wants to post that label. Like, if you mess around with one dude one time, you're not gay. You're not bisexual. Even if you liked it, it's like that's not necessarily true. So it's like, I don't like labels. That's why I don't like labels.
That's fair.
That's like my prime example too.
As individuals, we don't like labels, but as society, people prefer them because they make things easier. They
definitely make things easier, and our brain, we're psychologically like wired to categorize and label everything. That's how our brains work.
That area is dangerous.
Good, bad,
exactly. Good, bad, I'm not going over.
Right. So I mean, labels will always exist. We will never have in our current state, unless unless we evolve, like physically evolve, not culturally evolve. Like, unless we physically evolve and our brains no longer work the way that they do now, we will always have labels, and we will always differentiate and separate. And that's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. I have my results. I'm gonna switch it. So
first one, Jason sexual.
That's gonna be a thing.
100%
from now on. All right. Top of the list, 83% dominant. For some reason, Primal Hunter was 66%.
That wasn't even on mine.
Ooh. 61% non-monogamous. Exhibitionist. Brat Tamer. Experimentalist. 50% master. Owner, rigger. Let's see, lower on the list, 2% brat, 2% slave.
See, I saw brat. I'm sorry, continue.
Oh, okay. And the last one is 3% primal prey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt there.
No,
my mistake. No, I saw a brat and I'm like, what is a brat? Like, because I know when I'm calling someone a brat, it doesn't have anything to do with sex. So I looked up what a brat is.
Oh, okay. What is
and a brat is like a mischievous, subservient person. Mm-hmm. So, like,
that's
what I would call like a sassy bottom.
Yeah. Sassy bottom.
Like, I would call them a sassy bottom.
I like that. I think it's the people that like tease the like.
Their teases. They'll be like, "You're not fucking me hard enough."
Exactly.
You can do better. Like,
you think you're good.
Yeah, exactly. So that I looked that up. I'm like, what is a brat? Because I got brat tamer too. It's in my low thing, but I didn't even think to go over what I'm absolutely not. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting too. I guess that speaks a lot too, is what you don't connect with at all. Because I have a lot of absolute 0%.
Oh, really? You got some 0%?
I got a lot of 0%.
I got only like ones.
Oh, okay. So my least low ones, or my lowest, the bottom one is sadist. So whatever a sadist is, I'm absolutely not a sadist.
Okay.
I am not a pet.
Good.
I am not a degrader.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a degrader
at all. 33% degrader.
Okay, well, socially, I'm a degrader. I will tear you down. But apparently, sexually, I'm just looking to lift you up.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And hold you so I can fuck you because I'm tall. Well, am I tall? I'm tall.
You're tall.
Okay, I'm tall.
You are tall.
I just have terrible posture.
You walk through the door and you're tall, so.
And I'm 0% slave, 0% rope bunny. I also looked up what that was.
Fill me in.
Someone who likes to be tied up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty, but just who names these things?
Yeah.
I'm a rope bunny.
I'm a rope bunny.
I mean, I'm a badge bunny, so I guess that makes sense.
Oh, you go after cops.
Not necessarily cops, but
the badge?
Yeah, like anything. And I don't necessarily think it's like the sexiness of the uniform. I think I find them sexy because one, they actually have to be like baseline what I find attractive. Like someone that I would normally under any other circumstance would be unattractive doesn't just get cute because they slap that badge on. They do baseline. I do have to find them attractive. But also, like, I think I'm attracted to them as a resource. Like, you are useful to me.
I can call you up.
Exactly. Like, you know, I would be just as likely to flirt with, you know, regardless of gender, male or female officer, if I know that they're in charge of my neighborhood and I might need to know them for whether I need to get out of a speeding ticket or I just want to have the cop on speed dial for when someone breaks into my house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna flirt with them because I flirt with everyone, and I'm gonna be on good terms with them. And so, yeah, I've just over the years I've collected. I mean, look at my Facebook friends list. I've collected quite a bit of badges in my social life. So I am a self-identified badge bunny, and everyone else agrees. Like, yes, you're a fucking badge bunny.
I know that term from the show Life. You ever saw that one?
The Animal Planet.
No, yeah, that's the problem.
Isn't that the one that Oprah narrated or Sigourney Weaver? One or the other.
I would love to hear a clip of Oprah saying the words
badge bunny.
And you get a badge bunny, and then you get a badge bunny.
Everybody gets a badge bunny.
Yeah, it was a show. It was about cops, and of course, one episode there's a woman murdered, and then they find out she's a badge bunny, and the head detective's like, "That's that." And so they dive into the culture of like there are these women who actually pursue cops.
Yeah. I am one of those women.
So we've gone over your favorites. We've gone over your test. What are your least favorites?
So actually we didn't go over my fetishes.
Your fetishes?
I've been dodging that.
Okay.
I'm like nervous.
We don't have to go over it.
But I feel like I should. If I'm putting other people on blast, I might as well say something about myself. No. But we can start with the things that while doing my research, the things that I just was like, and that was anything having to do with bodily fluids.
Okay.
So any fetish that involves someone spitting on me, peeing on me,
bleeding on you.
Bleeding on me. That one wasn't even on the list that I was looking at. But yeah, that's a good point too.
Yeah,
no one should be bleeding on me.
Mucusing on you.
No mucus, no blood, no semen, no fecal matter.
And this I assume also is the same for you on the reverse. No spitting on
I'm not gonna be doing it to okay, I wouldn't say I'm not gonna say I don't do it, but I can confidently say that I'm like I could never do it again and be okay with it. Like I wouldn't be like itching for like, God, if I could just all over someone's chest right now. Yeah, no, it's not a fetish, but I mean, it's happened. It's happened to the best of us, you know. Every guy's had an Aspire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you almost said no. I'm like, baloney.
I was like, no, I cannot accurately say every time I've needed to use the bathroom past the age of, like, say 4, it's always been...
I'm not even talking about that fluid either. I'm talking about that other fluid that is more commonly involved in traditional sex.
Traditional and nobody.
Traditional sex depends on what your traditions are.
That's a good phrase.
Yeah.
Tagline for this episode.
Yeah, traditional depends on tradition. So anything involving any kind of fluids, not going to be into it.
My test results.
You know, no masochism, no sadism. So anything that I would view as being emotionally or physically harmful to myself or the other person, I'm not going to be into it. And a lot of people, that's their bread and butter. They love to fear for their life, or they love to, you know, safely fear for their significant other's life. Like,
here's an interesting thing. I have listened to, and I don't know if you've ever heard it, but the Poly Weekly podcast.
Mm-mm.
It's a podcast on polyamory, but also focus on some kink stuff and some relationship advice, communication stuff. I learned about Google Calendars from there.
Oh, good.
This was like years ago, like years and years ago.
The more you know.
The more you know. And they were talking about in the fetish community, sometimes there's a good conversation to have is, how do you want to feel at the end of this scene? So do you want to feel degraded and belittled? Do you want to feel like you put up a valiant effort in a fight and you were taken over? Do you want to feel like you held on to the bitter end? Like, what do you want to feel? Because that can help you transition. And it also tells the person, the dom, like, am I just gonna wreck this person emotionally? And there's a lot of communication that goes in. A lot of people think BDSM is like you're just beating somebody up and also having sex with them.
And for some people it is. For some people it is that simple. Yeah. So my kind of. This is where, like, how I got 69% experimentalist.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense to me because I'm not willing to try. And yeah, what was yours?
I got 58% experimentalist.
Okay, but somehow I got this high rated for experimentalist, and I'm terrified to try anything. So it's probably like a subconscious thing. This is that thing that's going to come out in my midlife crisis. I'm not going to buy a Ferrari. I'm going to try everything sexually that I've never done before. Yeah, exactly. Probably which you can find on this website. I'm sure there's probably a Facebook page that they can link me to.
One of the ones that I've heard about from Kevin Smith does a podcast called Education. And they talk about fetishes on one. One I know I would never be into was I forget the scientific name. It was being covered in bugs while having sex. And I was like, I'm good off that one. I don't need to try it to know.
Like,
I don't
crabs
want it.
must be amazing for them.
Oh,
like
no, it was like ants and stuff, like beetles and like worms.
So like okay.
And like
how do you get what happened that got you to this point where you realized that you got sexual gratification?
Like one time you're going at it and a fly lands on you.
Yeah, I'm like, so you must have had a very interesting camping trip, is what I'm guessing is.
I fell down a ravine and I was covered in ants, and it was the hardest I've ever been. Just 0 to midnight, baby.
Oh my goodness, that is
6 to midnight. 6 to midnight.
6 to midnight. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is an interesting one. That's one that I did not come up against when I was searching. Yeah. No.
Next time we meet, I will come up with a list of interesting fetishes.
Oh my god. Well, I don't want to be the fetish guy. Come on. We can talk about, there's more to me besides my sexual interest. Yeah. So if I come back on here, we got to talk about other stuff. Okay. There's so much more to me.
There's so much more to you than that.
I'm a deep person. Deep. Like balls deep person.
Hashtag deep.
Hashtag deep.
Yeah. I didn't mean to derail and be like, we're only talking about fetishes when you're here.
Only, that's my job now. Is the internet gets to watch my progression as a person into the fetish community.
You watch the job interviews just melt away.
Right. Luckily, I have my job, and I'm pretty much safe. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say that next time you're on, you're like, you got me fired or something.
You got me fired. No, if anything comes from this, I got me fired.
That's fair.
I take responsibility for my own actions. I got me fired talking about fisting on the internet.
Just fisting on the internet.
Just fisting on the internet. No, because what goes on in my bedroom is none of my employer's business. But should I film it, then it becomes everyone's business, because I work for the government. So government is public record, blah, 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 you know.
How do you feel about, like, I mean, there is a freedom of speech argument to be made about putting something on the internet, and people get fired for doing stuff like that. But I mean, it's freedom of speech. It's a public forum. Right?
Mm-hmm. the way I see it is that my company doesn't have to hire me. So
there's that.
They don't have to keep me employed. So, you know, that's pretty much that. And that's as deep as I go is, you know, I have to please the person who's giving me money.
True.
I have to do what they want me to do. And they make it clear what I am and am not to do. So, you know, they've done all the work for me. I just need to look internally and go like, okay, am I willing to sacrifice myself for this money? And 9 out of 10 times I am. So, in all aspects of my life, 9 out of 10 times I'm willing to sacrifice myself for the money.
Okay, that's an answer, I guess.
It is an answer.
Yeah.
You know, the whole human rights thing, and I'm going to sound terrible, everyone that just heard me say that, the whole human rights thing, a bunch of people just
Whatever.
Where's he going to go with that? I appreciate human rights, love them to death, think they're great. But I also view them as another social construct. Like, we don't have to have human rights.
True. And there's a lot of people.
And there's a lot of places that don't. Yeah. So I will always advocate for human rights, but I also respect the fact that they don't actually exist and could completely disappear at any moment.
Yeah. And under our current administration, very well might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them, at least.
Though,
religion looks pretty safe these days, though. Well, certain religions.
Certain religions. Yeah, religion looks safe as long as you've got the right religion.
Yeah. The poor Wiccans, man. Can't do animal sacrifice anymore.
I mean, but a lot of Wiccans don't. They're like, there's a sect that doesn't.
Right. I mean, and there's always there's probably the big, I would say probably most Wiccans wouldn't do animal sacrifice, but then there's that little section that does. And just because there's few of them doesn't make them any less valid than the big one. And it's like this whole complicated world, which I don't like religion.
Well, that was
all. I don't like any of them.
That was my big argument when people were saying, sorry, I need coffee.
Am I boring you, sir?
No, I'm just, I got up really early and I didn't sleep that well. Never did. The very interesting thing about when people were saying Muslims, like, oh, look at this, all Muslims want to bomb and kill everybody. And I'm like, no, that's just that one group. And, oh, no, it's everybody. Okay, so the West Bureau Baptist Church speaks for all Christians? Like, no, we're not all like burning the gay away.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting to
Yeah, no, it's like, I know exactly what you're saying. But then it's also, what you just said is because I was like, trying to say that Wiccans or religions that do animal sacrifice should be valid. But I don't want to say that I don't want to admit that the religions that believe in bombing everyone should be valid because it's the same chain of thought. And it's like, I don't want to say that now. Yeah. Like, damn, what a tangled web we weave.
It gets hairy real quick.
It does. And like we said earlier, I don't do hair. I don't like it hairy.
Well, also, you don't do boxes. Like, we shouldn't be, this religion is inherently bad because of this section. So it should be on a case-by-case basis.
Each and case-by-case basis on individuals. Like, okay, you're a Christian. Christian is a general term. What kind of Christian are you? Yeah.
What do you believe?
And that's another label thing. It's another label thing that if someone says, yes, I'm a Christian, you're going to get roped in like with Westboro Baptist, because if that's someone's filter of what a Christian is, that's what they're going to like. So it's like...
If aliens landed in Westboro Baptist Church, well, first of all, they would probably get shot. Right. If they observed that and said, oh, this is how all Christians are, we should just not pick up any Christians when the planet's going to explode.
I mean, they shouldn't anyways, because the Christians, when the planet explodes, the Christians are just going to go to heaven. So they don't need to pick up the Christians, and the Christians shouldn't feel insulted by that. The Christians should be okay with the aliens not taking them when the planet's going to blow up, because they're going to heaven, don't matter.
Well, what's that saying? The Marine saying? Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Like,
yeah,
see a lot of Christians like, this is like you can't take away my healthcare and like. So you're gonna get sick, bro. You're gonna go to heaven, right?
Yeah. Goal.
Yeah.
Goal.
I'm just hoping you get there sooner, my friend.
Well, and I think because my family is pretty traditional Protestant, Christian, Bible thumpers. You know, the rule book is there; they follow it. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily go to a church. That's just God gave them the rule book, and they're going for it. I think that's why typically my family doesn't get too beat up when someone in the family passes, because it's like, woo, you did it. You're there. My family members genuinely believe that their significant other is in heaven or hell, depending on which family member it was. I don't think any of my family members have been fast lane to hell. If they have, I don't know them. My mom sheltered me from them. Yeah. But so my family is always like, every time someone dies, it's a party. Like they're in heaven now, and it's like that's legitimately what everyone is dancing around, praising and singing. Like they're in heaven now. They're in this great place. Like so, like our funerals are we don't have funerals. We have celebrations of life where we remember the very times with the person, but it's always like a fun thing. Like they did it, they're there. And I think I don't subscribe to that religion myself, but I think that's cool that my family likes. I mean, I like it. I just see death as inevitable, so I feel bad about it. And I also just try not to think about it at all. In general, they're not dead. They're gone, and I'm just not going to see them anymore. They're not dead. I mean, they're still existing somewhere. They went to Florida.
I had an interesting perspective on death after my best friend passed away a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Of like, a lot of people, not a lot of people, I should say 2 people, they weren't in the right state of mind when they said it, but they were like, well, you're not friends with him anymore because he's dead. And I was like, well, no, but I mean, I still consider him my best friend.
Right.
Like, just because he's not here anymore and we don't talk as much doesn't mean that the friendship is now gone.
Right. Yeah. I would agree with that. Like, when my uncle passed away, or when my grandpa passed away, like he's not my grandpa anymore. He's still my grandpa. Mm-hmm. The relationship and experiences we had, to that point existed and stay with me. And like I said, we're just not, I don't see him anymore, and I don't talk to them anymore. And I get to say he because no females in my family have passed away yet. I don't think women in my family can die.
Just keep trudging.
Right, and it's probably because they're absorbing the life force of the men in the family.
I feel like how it is.
Yeah, but just to lighten that conversation a little bit.
Eddie Izzard has a joke about I'm a Bram, I live forever. Like the grandpas all kick over and they're ready for a nap.
Right,
like Brams would just kind of hang out for a few years.
Keep going. Yeah. I think that's like statistics, though, is that women typically outlive men in their relationships.
Yeah.
There's a country song called "Waiting on a Woman."
There are statistics that say if you are in a relationship, you statistically live longer.
Probably. You don't have to work as hard day to day.
You don't have to work as hard. You have somebody to like care for you in a healthy relationship that you can vent to, and they can help you with.
Well, and I mean, look at our members of our society. Look at the single people, what they're doing on Friday night. Look what most of the couples are doing on Friday night. Singles out there binge drinking at the party, doing whatever drug gets tossed their way. This is all single people, by the way. Every single person,
I did not know that,
is an alcoholic that does whatever drug they can get their hands on. And then every couple is on the couch binge watching Netflix on Friday night.
Home cooked meals too.
And home cooked meals. They're not getting all the poison from.
And a cat to pet to like relieve that stress.
If you're into petting pussy. I don't like cats or dogs. I don't do domestic animals.
No.
No. My rule is if I can't eat it, I won't feed it.
Ew. I have a friend who lives on a ranch, and yeah, they have like lambs, and they name the lambs. Like,
oh yeah, no, you still name it.
We're gonna eat
it's
Susie on Thanksgiving.
It is
like, Susie's cute.
Susie is adorable, and even if I'm gonna slaughter something later, I'm still going to love that animal mostly. Some animals are just fucking dicks. But no, you can't take care of something. You can't spend that much time with something, whether it's a person, an animal, or an object. You can't spend that much time interacting with something and not name it something. It's either going to be a people pet name, Susie, Sparky, Lammy, Rex. Or it's going to be little shit or cunt, or you're going to call it something, and that's what you're going to identify it as. And it's going to be like, this bitch over here. And that's how it's going to happen.
I can never do that.
You say that because I don't think you've been in the position to do so.
There's that. Yeah, I've never lived on a ranch or lived hungry on a ranch.
Right. Yeah.
What was it?
Now the cruelty of the names, like, not the people that name like livestock, like, oh, this is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah, that's when things like that's when you put that's weird. You put thought into it. It has connotation. It implies like
you're counting the days.
Right. So that's a little off cancer there.
But Mark Zuckerberg. Am I saying that right?
The
Zuckies. He had that thing a few years ago where he was like, I'm not gonna eat anything I myself didn't kill. Do you remember that?
No, but so I can't see him killing anything.
Well, a lot of people are like,
no wonder he's so skinny.
Yeah, they're like, okay. And almost simultaneously, it was kind of like released through the grapevine. That's his way of saying he's becoming vegetarian.
Oh. But I mean, he didn't kill that broccoli himself. His ass ain't out there in the field.
He harvested, when you have that much...
He doesn't have time for that. I've been to Facebook. I know people that work at Facebook.
He's not the CEO anymore, right?
He's still there.
Well, he's still there.
It's still his baby. He's chained to it.
Have community gardens at Facebook?
They probably do. They have a whole on the Classic campus over in Menlo Park. Yeah. They put in an entire California native garden that spans the roof of 2 of their buildings.
Okay.
It is beautiful. I'm obsessed with it. I demand every time I go visit, I demand to go see the garden. It's super cool. It's just an open space. They put in, substrates and topsoils, and they brought in native plants that you would naturally find in that area if the campus wasn't there. But then they arranged it in like the most beautiful way possible. So it's like this perfect piece of California wilderness.
Interesting.
And I love it so much. But the individuals though that work there aren't taking care of it though. It's like they hire landscapers that go out there and do it. As for community gardens, I would not be surprised if they had some kind of community gardens, because companies like Facebook and Google and Apple will do just about anything to keep their employees happy and stimulated, because they need to squeeze 120 hours a week out of them. So
Google has a bunch of community gardens right around the Flamingo and Dinosaur.
I've never been to Google, actually.
You've never been on Google campus?
Okay. I fear Google as a god, and therefore do not deem myself worthy to tread upon its soil.
I contracted for it, and I got to walk through a few times.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure, you've seen one tech campus, you've seen them all.
Yeah, I mean...
They just all have different levels of amazingness because they all try to outdo each other, but,
the flamingos and dinosaur from
are these real flamingos?
No.
Okay.
It's the statue. And you can see it on The Internship. Ever seen that movie with Vince Vaughn and Mr. Will?
I don't watch movies.
No?
I can't hold still that long. Like even right now, just from doing this, like my feet are like I'm playing songs on the piano with my toes right now.
Have you gone to the movie theaters recently?
It's been a while. Okay. I get really anxious in movie theaters.
They have those big, huge sofas.
Yes. Yeah, I've been to one of those.
Up and down, so that might be better for you because you can move around a little bit. You can just.
I usually just
put a heater on your butt.
My butt's already hot. I don't need more heat.
I'm just saying, it's a wonderful experience.
Wonderful.
Because it's always cold in theaters, so like. You can be like,
see, I like that it's cold in theaters because I get anxious when I'm in there, and when I get anxious, I get hot. So I like that theaters are cold because it's like the one thing that keeps me mellow. Get anxious? I don't know. I just
is it like
for as long as I've had anxiety, I have been anxious in movie theaters, and I think it's because when I do watch things on television and movie, I'm very immersive in my watching experience. Like I get really sucked into the movies to the point that I usually am like disoriented when movies are over.
Yeah.
It's an experience, man.
Do you ever?
It's exhausting.
Have you ever like been legitimately pissed off by a bad transition in a movie?
I don't think so.
There's a few movies I can think of where it'll be like a really dark scene, and then all of a sudden, like, bam! It's like they're out in the middle of noon, and like light just. And I legitimately get pissed off because it takes me right out of the transition. You're like,
so like that, like a stark transition. No, I've never really experienced that. I did notice in Jurassic Park, the first one, that T-Rex scene where 1 second the T-Rex exhibit is at ground level, and then all of a sudden the T-Rex exhibit is a cliff. Mm-hmm. I did notice that. Even when the movie came out, what was that, 1993? Which means I probably saw it in 95. So even as a 5-year-old, I'm like, why is that a cliff now? We just watched. So that cage is broken because that dinosaur right there walked through it. Now the same opening that it walked through is now like 100-foot drop. And I'm like, that doesn't, 5-year-old me even noticed that didn't make sense. Yeah. So I thought if that's what you're referring to, I have noticed that and been like, kind of like.
I really like.
You got lazy.
Yeah. There's a segment on a podcast I listen to, Hollywood Babylon, where it's shit that should not be. And it's when they just miss something in the editing room or the filming room.
Or they just don't give a shit.
Or they're like, no one's ever going to possess the ability to pause this and actually see everything that's going on. There was like one movie they were just talking about, like one scene, the guy's got a full beard and he looks at something and the camera looks back at him, completely shaven. And it looks back at somebody else and back to him, full beard. Like
that's terrible. What?
That's that Jim Caviezel issue that they had with the like mustache and how he shaved it for the end of the Justice League movie. Did you hear anything about that? Am I just the only one that pays attention to Hollywood stuff?
Probably.
Yeah, they did reshoots for Justice League, and he was already started on Mission Impossible. Whatever.
So he was having to be two characters at once.
So he had a mustache for Mission Impossible, and they're like, "You gotta shave it." And Paramount was like, "He's bullshit. He's not shaving."
That shit's insured.
Yeah, and so they had to spend like an absorbent amount of money digitally removing his mustache.
Excellent!
And so they did, and so the final icing on the cake, the big fuck you, was they made a coin for all the cast and crew for Mission Impossible. Mm-hmm. And the coin is Henry Cavill's face and then a parachute over his lip to make it look like his mustache as Tom Hanks is like parachuting down. And they sent it to the producers of Justice League as a like... fuck you, we're going this path. And I was just like, the world needs to have more arguments.
Well played.
Yeah.
Well played.
I'd love to be there when the guy opens it up and sees the coin. It's just like, yeah.
I like that we went from fetishes to movies.
Fetishes to movies? I mean, movie fetishes?
Movie fetishes?
I wonder if there is a fetish. I'm sure there is of getting it on in a theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely would fall under the public voyeurism, sex in public, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. So, see, I was thinking voyeurism was more watching somebody.
There's a bunch of different aspects of it, and I researched it because it was my number one trait according to this thing. So I'm like, okay, now I need to know what voyeurism is. There this little piece of myself that I'm not paying attention to?
So were there any that like stuck out to you as hell yes I am, and were there any that stuck out as like, I mean, the exhibitionism?
So the ones that I saw, which were hell yes, like I connected with, like, yeah, without a doubt, was the dominant. Like, hell yes, I'm dominant. Vanilla, hell yes, I am vanilla.
Oh, interesting.
I'm 53% vanilla on this, but I'm like, yeah, I'm super vanilla, and I'm proud of my vanilla flavor. I'm a sexy little vanilla bean. Let's see, what was the other? Those were the two that I was like, yeah. I only got like 11% exhibitionists, so. Which doesn't surprise me at all. It's like, hell yeah, ain't no one gonna see me.
Yeah, I'm very confused as to a few of these. So dominant, I agree with. And then it says age player. And I've never done anything with that.
Age player? I don't even know what that specifically refers to. I would assume that it's pretending to be younger or older than you are.
Yes.
But I think it could also be that you're specifically interested in people who are older or younger than you.
I mean, I wouldn't mind younger people than me.
Right.
It's not something I would actually...
I think it might be both. That pretending to be or emphasizing that you are older or younger than someone, and specifically being interested in someone that is older. Like the people that are like, oh, I'm into older moms. Like I like cougars. Like
cougars and milfs. Yeah.
Right. Cougars and milfs.
Cougars and milfs.
It's a cereal.
That sounds like it should be. Kids, make sure you get your daily allotment of cougars and milfs. Dad's got his.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
Anything else that sticks out to you?
Just the thing that was like the most surprising was that voyeurism was the number one, and that the experimentalist was so close up there too, because how can I be both vanilla and experimental? It seems a little conflicting. But as for the things that I was 0% on and absolutely didn't get down with, I agreed with every single one of them 100%. None of those were a question.
Yeah, that's probably you strongly disagreed on stuff.
Yeah.
I got 33% degrader and 6% degradee, which I would agree with. I don't like to degrade or tear down somebody's ego, especially in bed. Like that to me, and I know there's people out there that probably go crazy for that, but I'm just like, we're doing a beautiful thing. I don't want to give
Let's not take this moment.
Yeah. I don't want to give you any reason.
I don't want to slap you across the face and call you a bitch.
I mean.
Well, that's what that falls under the degrading thing. Like, you ain't shit, your mama ain't shit, and your grandma ain't shit neither.
Why are you bringing this up while we're having sex?
Everyone's into something.
I guess, yeah. Tell me how I don't make enough money. Now we're gonna get too real.
Tell me that my brother's more successful than I am.
Oh yeah, tell me how I didn't function well in college.
Yeah.
I don't fit into the norm.
Yeah, no, I like to build my partner up.
Yes,
I like to be supportive. Yeah, it's like just like my role in video games. Call me jockstrap. I'm here to support. I play.
There will never be a moment where I'm not thinking of that next time I'm playing a multiplayer game.
Yeah, and there's a support.
Oh my God, we need more support. We need a jockstrap.
Jason.
Hey Jason, do you own this game? Can you go out and buy it?
Yeah, like I play Dota a lot on Steam.
Never played it.
Dota, Defense of the Ancients.
Oh, I saw this.
It's similar to League of Legends. They're like the same game, but Dota's better. And fuck anyone that thinks anything else. And I always play a support. And I'm a really good support. And so like when you start the game and you're getting to know who you're playing with when you're playing with randoms off the internet, my opening line is always, call me Jockstrap, I'm here to support, heart, 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 heart. And I do.
Do people actually laugh at that?
Oh God, all the time.
Get them off.
All the time. I hear that, the gaming world can be like full of trolls and shitty people and stuff like that, but I think that I'm just funny enough to play with that most people are nice to me.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you get some 8-year-old that is literally just already a walking piece of shit and that's their goal in life, and that's whatever, you mute them and you move on. But for the most part, like I make people laugh when I play. The comments that I'm like, when we go in for a team battle or whatever and we just get absolutely spanked and wrecked, I'll be like, wow, taking me back to college. Like, comments along that line. Like, I haven't been jumped. My bones haven't been jumped this hard since high school. Like,
sneak attack.
This is an old school comment, but when I play Destiny with friends or more recently other games, I don't like Destiny.
I haven't played it yet. It was on my list.
Anyways, like the guys that I would play Destiny with were very into Destiny, and so they had to have the exact right gear and exact right power-ups before we went into the room to trigger the big boss and stuff. I would just run in and be like, screw you guys, I don't actually want to play the game.
Yeah.
When you start it, it sucks them into it.
Oh, they hated you.
Yeah. And so I'd be like, okay, I got 45 minutes and I want to shoot something in that time.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And so I'd run in. I just started going, Leroy!
Leroy Jenkins!
I was just going for Leroy, and then you would hear on the microphone, oh, son of a bitch. Like, I'm starting it. I'm sorry. You had your 5 minutes to get your shiny gear on. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I know their feeling. I like to be prepared before I go in, mostly because I'm mostly just looking out for myself. It's like I don't want to be the one player on the team that wasn't prepared. I don't want to be the weak link. So I will take a minute to make sure that I have all my items in order, that all my abilities are at the level I want them to be before we go in for the team battle.
It's definitely screwed me up in single player games before because I'm like, gotta get that experience. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then there was one old game where I was just like, I had to literally start the game over and actually have like healing crystals and like repair kits.
Yeah, that
when I went
Plan
into
B.
this big huge battle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually listen to the tutorial this time.
Yes.
So like,
yes.
Now I play.
Yeah, you do a really bad job. And like, okay, what did I miss? What was I supposed to do? I missed something.
Yeah. And then you get it and you're like,
what was even the point of this game? Oh, not even what I thought it was. Whoops!
Yeah.
I thought this was a puzzle game. My bad.
I'm actually playing through a game right now that's from Sega Dreamcast. They re-released it for the Xbox. One of my favorite games, Shenmue. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Shit move?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Shenmue. It's like Japanese game, like heavy Japanese game.
Is that a Shenmue?
No, that's a moo. That's a cow.
Oh.
Moo.
He has a cow poster.
Yeah. Nobody believes you. No, actually, I think I talked about it on the last one. But yeah, it's a fun game, but you put that in on like a high definition TV and like Xbox One, and it came up, and I was like, wow. I definitely remember the graphics being a lot better.
Oh my god, right?
I remember the gameplay.
You forget what we came from.
Smooths it over. Yeah.
Right, when it's the best thing ever, your brain like fills it in for you. When I go back and I play my Nintendo 64 games, I'm like, this is garbage, but I still love it. I'm going to keep playing.
Oh yeah. And like they released it because the third one's finally coming out after years and years, but they wanted people like,
They want to get it hyped. They got to get it. They got to bring back the feel.
And also, like, probably get that last little bit of money.
Oh yeah, no, squeeze, milk that money.
All of it.
Milk it.
Like the sound quality.
Another
like
fetish.
People talk.
Milking.
I like milking. I mean, yeah, I could see that.
Milking, edging.
This feels familiar.
Oh, okay. Because at that height, that's not you.
You don't know that.
I do, actually.
I'm wearing shorts, so yeah.
I do happen to know that.
Yeah. I'm sure my ex has told you.
Your ex has never once discussed any of your sexual behaviors.
Tell-all book. No. I actually thought about doing like a tell-all book of just my random life story, not just about specific instances.
I like that you have the self-confidence to think that anyone would care to read it.
That's my thing. My pitch would be, you've read biographies from rich, famous people. Here's one from just somebody.
Yeah.
And I know like 3 people would buy it. And 2 of them are my parents, so...
I don't think my mom would want to read my memoir.
Oh, I didn't say read. I said
buy. Just buy it.
Just buy it.
I'm going to support him. Yeah. I'm going to buy the memoir.
Yeah. It's like, I have a podcast, but I'm pretty sure my parents have never watched it. I've sent my dad the link several times.
I hope to God my mom doesn't watch this.
Oh, yeah.
Especially considering what we're talking about today. Yeah, I'm not ready to collect my inheritance yet, and I'm pretty sure my mother would die.
You think so?
If she heard me talking about fetishes that I might be interested in trying.
It's so interesting that like we as kids you think your parents are like, oh, ew, and stuff like that. I did
I never thought my parents were ew.
My best friend, Manuel, he threw me a bro bath. Like, you know.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
I was invited.
You didn't go, though.
No, I didn't. I had something else going on. I apologize.
Anyways, we did this questionnaire and one of the questions was, what's David's favorite activity? So I wrote down, like, working out or something like that. No, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. That's, like, third on the list. Depending on who's in town.
Oh, wow.
And my dad put down his answer, having sex with a woman. I was just like, Dad, come on. Like, I'm still, like, even now, I'm still at that age where sex comes up with my parents. And I'm like, I know you know I've had it. And I know you've had it because I'm here. But let's just look at the birdie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't had too many in-depth sex talks with my mom just because I feel like that's not something you talk to your parents about.
Mm.
I got the talk from my mom.
Okay.
So I got the initial, you know, she told me what sex was. She told me what can happen when you have sex. And at a very early age, mind you. When I was like 5, I asked my mom where babies came from. And she showed me the video of my own birth. Wide angle lens, all up in
Zooms,
there. And suddenly the mark on my head suddenly made sense. I'm like, oh, that's my mom's pussy on my head. Okay, that makes sense. I'm never going to shave my head ever again. But yeah, so.
Is that true? Is that, like, does that happen?
Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm making a joke, but
okay.
I know that, you know, when you're born, your skull is not fused together. It's made up of multiple small pieces that come together and harden as you age. But I think it's entirely possible to imprint something on there because I have a crest up the center of my head here.
So do I. I have one going off the side.
Were you a vaginal birth?
I believe so.
Yes. So your mom's vagina is right there.
Oh. I'm
with you
well tonight. Thanks.
Always with you.
So I'm assuming under that same guise that C-sections would not have that.
Oh yeah, C-section babies have nice, completely correctly shaped for whatever they were meant to be shaped heads.
I mean,
I can't say correctly shaped because I've seen some people that, you know, they weren't supposed to have a correctly shaped head. Mm-hmm. They were just born that way.
Well, yeah, and then the Mayans used to, like, wrap a cord around.
Oh, a bunch of cultures used to, Africa, they used to do the boards. Same way, you know, the neck rings, lip rings. They're all a bunch of different cultures bind and twist different body parts to change them. in parts of Asia, it was the feet wrapped in silk.
Oh yeah.
Mayans or some South American culture just wrap stuff around the head to make them like cone.
Yeah.
All kinds of crazy stuff.
So interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, weird. I say weird. It is interesting, but it's also weird.
Oh, it's weird. Yeah.
But I'm judgmental, so.
Well, when I was in high school, there was the craze of square cats. You take a kitten and you put it in like a square glass jar, so its bones would, as it grew, it would like get shaped to the jar, and then you break the jar when the cat was like, I don't know, like a year
Okay,
old.
I've been like balls deep in the animal world for years, and I've never heard of that.
Never heard of that?
Never,
I don't
ever
know if
heard
it was
of
a prank,
that.
but it sounded legitimate. Like, we were in high school going, that's
Not to rip on
weird.
Japanese people, but that sounds like something they would do in
I
Japan.
think it was a Japanese thing.
Yeah, that sounds like something they would do in
I
Japan.
mean, they do weird things in Japan.
They do.
No joke. Like, that's fine. It's
The
like
glow-in-the-dark animals was my favorite. When they extracted the glowing gene from jellyfish and were successfully able to synthesize it in mammals,
That's not real.
they made
That's not
glowing
real.
mice.
Why wouldn't they do that with humans then?
Why would you want to glow? It's not something you can control. These things just naturally produce bioluminescence.
What's the ill effect of that?
Well, for one, it affected their ability to sleep properly because they were glowing.
Yeah. My eyelids are light bulbs. I can't.
Exactly. From the little bit that I can remember of this article I read in high school is that they had very short lifespans, as I feel like anything when you're messing with its genetics is probably going to.
The energy exposure.
But it was just like, and there were pictures of like rats, mice, hamsters, and rabbits, which are all common experimental subjects that all glow. They all glow this ugly, like amber yellow color, and it's like, why?
I mean, so there was a Honey, We Shrunk the Kids, and they had that where they're like, oh, we were gonna put this like special juice that people who work at night could drink, so then they'll glow, and then it all ends up in the belly, and the guy's like, oh, add milk to it so it gets absorbed in the bloodstream. But I mean, that's semi-plausible use for making people glow short term. Is like,
I guess, but it comes back to why.
So, like, if you're a construction worker and you glow, like, that's better than a reflective vest, right?
I guess.
Yeah. Or to freak the shit out of people.
Yeah, that's all. Like, I'm like,
if I could glow for like an hour each day, like optional turn it on, like I would just like run at people, just full bore, like, like just to see the reaction that people would get. Like you would get some people that just like.
But I feel like if we could do that, though, I feel like it wouldn't surprise anybody. It'd be like, yeah, he can glow. We can do that.
Oh, yeah. Like if
your shock factors instantly. They would be freaking out because you're a grown-ass man going, glowing or otherwise.
Yeah, I think most people would.
Like, you could walk out there right now dressed as you are and do that and get the exact same effect.
Probably. But, like, if I'm glowing, I wouldn't need to hold a flashlight up to see the reaction. I don't know.
I'm a fan of my existing night vision.
Yeah.
Although you can't see very well, can you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see excellent. I can't see clearly.
I'm looking at those glasses.
Yeah. I can see just fine. I just can't see clearly just fine.
Jumping some conclusions there.
There you go. Splitting some hairs.
Splitting some hairs on that one.
Splitting hairs doesn't save the dog. I just heard that term I don't know if that's actually a term, but I heard it on a TV show and I was like, is that the full term? Like splitting hairs doesn't save the dog? Is that what people meant to say this whole time?
I've never heard that before.
You've never heard that term before? Oh, okay, that was just me then. Anyways, are you ready to get out of here, sir? It's been excellent to sit with you.
Yeah.
And actually record it this time.
Did we?
Oh, shit. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's going. It's going.
About to say. We actually recorded this time. I got to talk about sexy fetish stuff without having to give up any of my own sexy fetish information.
I noticed that, but I wasn't gonna cry for it.
Yeah, I was hoping you would.
That
might be part of my fetish. No, it's not going to be next time. I am more than just fetishes. Treat me with dignity.
Okay, fine. I'll let you go home in your own time, record a video of your fetishes. I'll tack it onto this one.
No.
No?
No one. If you want to know what my fetishes are, fetishes. If you want to know what I'm interested in, you can ask me directly on Instagram.
There you go. DM.
I'll tell you. Slide into my DMs and only my DMs.
Watch in like a few years when this really takes off. All of a sudden you start getting all these DMs about an episode from like 3 years.
I'll still answer. 10 years from now, I'll still say,
Jason, I just saw your episode. What is your sexual? Maybe it's changed and grown since then.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure, because I'm an experimentalist.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're going to be look back on this
as a fetish person. I'm apparently a grower and not a shower.
That's good. That's good. Alrighty, sir. Well, it has been a pleasure sitting down with you.
Thank you. I had a good time too. Was it good? It was good for you. It was good for me.
Oh, it's always good for me.
Low standards. I like it.
Well, you keep the bar down here, and then you're always happy with it.
Yeah.
Or standards met.
Or standards met.
Or standards met.
Excellent.
Yes. Alrighty. That's it for the Smashby Podcast, episode 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, one of those.
3, 2, 1.
It's one of those, yeah. As always, I'd like to thank Manny, our tech guru, for helping set up everything. Arlie, our artist, and Jason for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you liked it. If you didn't like it, don't comment.
Talk shit. Talk shit. I want to read it.
Bye, everybody.